You can spend 8 months meticulously allocating budgets, tasting catered menus, and coordinating vendor load-in times. But on the actual day of the event, all that administrative precision is completely exposed to external forces. A single gust of wind or an unexpected storm can tear down a $50,000 investment in seconds. Organizers in Alberta face a specific set of geographical variables. Sudden summer hailstorms or early autumn snowfalls are common occurrences that can derail outdoor or seasonal logistics without warning. This leaves every event planner with a strict financial choice. You either self-insure by personally absorbing the cost of every ruined deposit and broken contract, or you transfer that financial risk away from yourself through specialized event insurance. This event risk spectrum maps financial exposure against complexity. A small backyard barbecue carries minimal financial threat. Renting a dedicated wedding hall introduces venue liabilities, pushing exposure to moderate. Finally, a multi-day public festival presents peak risk, maximizing potential for expensive legal liabilities. Because your gathering lands on a highly specific point on this spectrum, buying a generic, one-size-fits-all insurance policy is a tactical error. You have to accurately identify your exact position, or you will either overpay for coverage you don't need or leave catastrophic gaps in the protection you actually do. Before you can even discuss the details of your gathering, most commercial venues require you to prove you have foundational protection in place. This baseline usually takes the form of general liability and property damage coverage. General liability covers legal and medical costs if your event causes bodily injury to a third party or damages someone else's property. If a guest trips over a poorly secured speaker wire and fractures their wrist, or if a caterer heavily damages the venue's hardwood floors during loadout, this clause acts as your primary financial shield. The trade-off is straightforward. You pay an upfront premium starting at a few $100s to avoid paying out of pocket for a massive legal defense or a sudden 5-figure venue repair bill. But physical damage isn't the most common threat. You also have to account for the Alberta weather tax, the statistical probability that environmental factors will force you to shut down the event entirely. This coverage matrix shows how to protect sunk costs. Event cancellation reimburses expenses if circumstances stop the event. Paired with weather clauses, this guarantees thousands paid to vendors aren't lost to storms. Given Alberta's climate, these protections are non-negotiable for private outdoor weddings. For private hosts, locking in baseline liability and cancellation insurance is the only way to ensure that a ruined, unrecoverable day doesn't also result in a devastating, permanent financial penalty. Baseline protections work well for intimate gatherings, but as you scale up your guest list, you introduce variables that multiply your legal exposure. The single most dangerous variable you can introduce to any event is alcohol. If you are hosting a public event, a corporate gathering, or a high-risk private party, you will need liquor liability coverage. Liquor liability is a specialized policy that protects the host or business entity against claims of injury or damage resulting from an intoxicated guest. The legal reality is that the moment you serve, sell, or distribute alcohol, the burden of unpredictable human behavior and the resulting property damage or physical injuries shifts directly onto your shoulders as the host. Looking back at our coverage matrix, Ein Alcohol introduces a flashing warning. The legal exposure for commercial organizers here is severe. Municipalities enforce strict regulations before issuing permits, raising the cost and complexity of coverage. Additionally, if your event features physical activities or competitions, you'll need participant accident coverage, which specifically pays medical expenses for injured attendees. As your gathering scales from a private room to a public venue, generic off-the-shelf insurance policies become legally insufficient. You need a highly customized risk assessment to ensure the business entity is actually insulated from liability. Once you know your exact risk profile, a logistical problem remains. How do you procure a customized policy covering specific liabilities without overpaying for the premium? You generally have two paths: the traditional direct-to-consumer model or the broker aggregation model. Going directly to a single carrier means squeezing your event into pre-existing coverage boxes. If they don't specialize in your event, you pay a higher rate for a poor fit. The Broker Canada approach maps your unique data against over 20 distinct providers simultaneously. This aggregation allows brokers to locate carriers who specialize in your exact event type, driving down the cost. Armed with 18 years of Alberta-specific expertise, this comparison process yields an average savings of 30%. By exchanging the instant speed of a generic online checkout for a brief consultation with a licensed broker, you secure a custom-fit policy that eliminates dangerous coverage gaps and guarantees the best market rate. Choosing to host an event without a dedicated policy means you are personally underwriting the unpredictability of Alberta's weather and human error. This decision tree outlines your next steps. For private weddings, your priority is a low-cost baseline protecting deposits and venue obligations. For commercial events, you must insulate your business from lawsuits and liquor liabilities. Both paths require a broker to perform the market comparison. Stop guessing at your financial exposure. Call 403-354-4444 and let the licensed experts at Broker Canada tailor the exact financial firewall your event requires.